And we are live. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. My name is Niki Lopez of Niki Lopez Creative, and you're watching The Circle, where every Tuesday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm talking to artists, I'm talking to activists, social entrepreneurs, people doing great things in the world today. And today I have a very special guest. I have artist, professor, and mom, Kandy Lopez. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. As we're gearing up the live, I'm just going to welcome the people that are hopping on. We're live in a couple of places. So we're live on Facebook under Niki Lopez Creative, as well as Outclick Magazine and the 1310 Gallery. We are also live on YouTube and Periscope for the two people that's out there in Periscope land. We're live there too. Welcome. We have Emily Sheila popping in to say hello. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, I'm just going to jump in. So I do have a little short bio that I wanted to read. I thought it was really nice to start there. So Kandy Lopez, curious to understand my fascination with and attraction to certain individuals who live and work in urban, often economically disadvantaged environments. My work explores the strength, power, and confidence and swag of these individuals through a variety of mediums. My images develop a personal and socially compelling visual vocabulary that investigates race, the human defense mechanism, visibility through fashion and gentrification. I want my images to help educate, communicate, foster uncomfortable topics that we seem to look past or avoid in our multicultural society. Representing individuals within poor communities in the US, these portraits help me, as a Afro-Dominican American, come to terms with the way I too have adopted and performed identities of survival. Additionally, I want my work to make visual record of these compelling individuals rarely acknowledged within the history of art. Wow. That's a lot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was a nice, because I saw on your Instagram, I love that you said figure artists interested in the defense mechanism of fronting and swag as an armor in minorities. So can you kind of elaborate a little bit about that, that expression and some of your work?
Yeah, it's not that much to unpack, but during grad school I was going through a phase of really being enamored with people that have this swag idea, right? So somebody that's hip, someone that's fashion forward, someone that's super confident, like, and you see these people out in the street, right? I felt like I didn't have swag at some point, so I was attracted to someone who was that confident, that can actually portray that strength in certain areas. So I was born in New Jersey, near Jersey City. It's a small town called Bayonne. And I was there, for a little while, and then we moved down to Miami, and that whole idea of city and people that lived within the city, and it felt like people were always super strong, like strong, or what's the word? Like there was always a barrier when you would, I don't know, take the subway or take the bus, whenever you were in a crowded location in urban situations or urban settings. So that was something that I admired, because it was something that I felt that maybe I lacked, or maybe I felt comfortable in. So when I went to grad school and I was picking people that had this idea of swagger, I had a professor ask me, do you think it's authentic, the way that they perform? And for me, I was like, what are you talking about, lady? They're not performing. This is who they are. Like, they have to have this armor in front of them to be able to survive the location in which they're living in, so they don't get messed with, so that they can go home safely. That is the point of having the armor. But then I thought about that too, and I'm just like, well, you know what? It's a performance piece as well because when you get home, you like take off the armor, right? You're with your family, you're safe, you're with people that you feel connected to in comparison to, going out in the environment. So for me, that was like an aha moment because I was also interested in psychology when I was going to school. So I'm like, okay, so I'm performing when I'm being a mom, or I'm performing when I'm being the daughter, or I'm performing when I'm the artist, or I'm performing when I'm the professor. And then when you go out to these different situations, it's like you're putting on that face so that you can either connect or feel safe within the space that you're in.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, absolutely. We have Sylvia saying hello, Nikki and Candy Lopez. So, can we back up a little bit? What was your introductory
Hey.
what was your introductory to art and your creative journey?
Um, I when I moved down to Miami, I had a best friend who loved to dance. She was also Dominican, and her mom was gonna put her in a magnet program, Rainbow Park Elementary School. And I didn't know anything about magnet programs, but I knew I wanted to go wherever my friend was going. So I applied, and we both got into dance our fifth year. I mean, in fifth grade. And then after that first year, like technically, I wasn't into ballet. Like I just wanted to do hip hop, right? Because you're a kid, and that's what's cool.
Mhm.
Um, so I wasn't with the dance program. So I said, well, she's transferring, so I want to be with my best friend. Let me try art just because I like to draw Pokemon or just kid stuff that you draw. I was really bad, like really bad. And after taking a few classes, I fell in love with portraiture. Like that was something that I felt like I could do because the way that my teachers explained it was easier than me looking at, I don't know, landscapes or objects. Like it was a way to connect with something. And then after that, after falling in love with like the body, that was it. Like I knew I wanted to make art for my life. I was just scared. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of my students are. And how am I going to make money doing what it
Mhm.
is that I love? And then when I went to my undergrad, I was like, I'm not doing art anymore. I need to really get like a job. So I'm going to go to business school. So I did business, and that was a terrible year. And I decided to double major. And that really helped me to understand the business side of art and also continue to fulfill my passion. And then I thought, man, I always wanted to teach. I enjoy like having students around me and helping them.
Mhm.
So I decided to get my master's in it. And luckily, I got a job and I could do what I want to do when I want to do it. So that's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so you're a professor now, and you also do your art practice.
Correct.
Oh, okay. And I like that. I don't know if you have. You could share some of your work with us if we could go through some of them, because I just love that the whole thing about using fashion as a statement and as armor. I don't really, I really don't see a lot of people talking about that. So I really appreciate that about your work.
Okay, let me share. Is it this?
It
Let's do
should
this
be,
one. Okay,
yeah.
there we go. So I have, where should I start? Maybe fibers, I guess. And they're in chronological order, so we can start at the bottom.
Okay.
So I am a painter, but I'm also an experimenter, if that's a word. I experiment a lot.
Hmm.
Um, when I get bored with knowing a material, then I go on and try to learn something else. So these are 6 by 6 inches. It's yarn. I follow this girl on Instagram. I get most of my models either from Instagram, or if I'm walking down the street and I think someone looks really interesting, then I stop awkwardly and explain to them that I'm an artist and I think that they have swag and if I could take a picture of them. Um, because I think that they're interested in it. And then, that's how you also build a network too. So they end up following you on Instagram and you end up looking through their images and asking them if you can borrow some or take some so that you can create these images. So these are just some examples
Mm.
of some of the pieces. This is yarn on canvas. And they're pretty small. I was trying to figure out how I can create layers within a really tiny, tiny space.
Hmm.
And then I guess I should show you guys representation or presentation of self. This
Hmm.
was like a really big one for me. And this is like the person I feel like has the most swag that I've ever met. Again, it's the same girl off of Instagram. Her name is Lauren. And I decided
Wow.
to put her on plexiglass. This is 8 foot by 4 feet. And she's basically suspended off of the background. And as a viewer, you can like walk behind some of the spaces. I wonder if I have an image of that. So like these two are also suspended off of the wall.
Hmm.
Um, I hope I have pictures on here so that you can see. So now you know how. There we go. So I'm pretty sure you had Jill on your show, Jill Levetsky, the other artist. We went to school together.
Nice.
So these were also people that I was attracted to, and I wanted them to also be incorporated within the people that would come into the show, the gallery
Hmm.
goers. And mind you, this is Boca Raton, so I knew that there was going to be a lot of white people that would end up coming to the space. So I wanted to see that juxtaposition between what I consider normal in my where I live, which is minorities,
Hmm.
and Boca and the population within that space. So that was an interesting way of incorporating different cultures, different skin tones, different environments within a space. So she, for me, is like the epitome of somebody who has swagger.
And I love how you incorporate like some of that urban scape, like the neighborhood behind them. Like, what's some of the intentions? I know you brushed on some of it in the bio, but what's the intentions behind that?
So this is perfect segue. When I was in school again, I was just painting portraits and they had no background. Like there was nothing that incorporated them within their space. It was just like I painted them and you knew that they were from the city. But at the same time, the city was also important to me because when people think about Miami that are not from here, they don't think about these environments that really make up Miami, like where
Hmm.
people from Miami are from, like Opalaka and Liberty City and Little Haiti. And all these places being gentrified now has become like a real hot topic, pushing these
Hmm.
people out of Overtown and, creating these huge buildings to beautify is what they use the space, but why wasn't it beautiful before? Why do we idealize what South Florida looks like? So I
Hmm.
started painting out and drawing these landscapes of places that I would walk around and I would consider the real Miami that people don't even
Hmm.
think about, that lock their doors when they're going through these spaces, or even Wynwood when Wynwood wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
It wasn't a place where you would want to go and just walk and look at art. That was not existent back then. So
Hmm.
I took a breather from creating portraits and started thinking about the environment and then bringing the people back into the environment was important for me too because it was a way of like connecting them to the space,
Hmm.
but at the same time I didn't want them to feel stuck in that space. And that's why with the images that I showed you before, the 8 by 4 foot ones, they're
Mhm.
not inside of the environment, they're a part of it. These are more examples of like just swag portraits. I have like 200 of these. This is what I do when I'm trying to just paint really fast and get into my gestures. These are 15-minute 5 by 7 ink and or should I say watercolor and pen drawings slash paintings.
Those are very nice. I love the work. I enjoy watching looking at your works. It's like all the meanings, but also the textures and layers and everything like that. So it's really nice to look at and appreciate.
Yeah, I
Um,
think a lot about materials
mhm,
and what the materials mean and how they've been used in art history and how I'm bringing that into the forefront and making it a little bit more contemporary.
mhm, mhm. And for those watching, I have on the ticker Candy's website is candyglopez.com. You could get connected to her work, see what she's up to, where she's going to be showing at. Also, Kandy is one of the exhibiting artists in the current What's Your Elephant Safer at Home show. So we have an annual What's Your Elephant exhibition. And all of the work is talking about an elephant in the room. This year, it was talking about a lot of these experiences and traumas that are heightened because, due to the pandemic. So the show opened in, I think it was August. Um, yeah, August, and so it's been extended. So because of the pandemic, it is social distancing. So you could still you have to schedule an appointment to come and view with your mask on. But it's at the 1310 Gallery in South Florida, and it's going to be available until the end of the month. So the end of November. If you want more information, you go to what'syourelephant.org. In the event section, you'll see a little bit more details about that. And so we have, oh, Sylvia saying, wow, they're great. We're speaking about.
Thank you.
Yes. And so I know we talked a little bit about you being a professor, but you're also a mom. And I thought that was, when I'm asking people, what are your titles? And um, I have my own personal reasons of why I think that is so nice and refreshing and significant that you say that. But why is that something that's a distinction for you?
I feel like that's a job, like the job right now. So I have a 2 year old and a almost 7 month old, and most of my time is trying to keep the house in order and trying to keep them alive, while at the same time managing being a professor and also figuring out when am I going to have time to create.
Mhm.
And since I feel like being a mom is way harder than any of the other two jobs.
Yeah.
So that title is extremely important for me as a
Hmm.
female, um, to be distinguished as
Hmm.
that. I feel like it's an honor, like a badge. Like other moms get the craziness that happens in the
Hmm.
house.
Yeah. And I think it can never be stated enough, I think, the significance of being an artist and a mom, because there was times when people talk about all of the art greats. They're typically males because they got to sit in the pastures and draw circles all day while the mother was cooking and mending and changing pampers and things like that. So it's a real challenge. First of all, women, I saw somewhere a long time ago, they said that, in the Met Metropolitan Museum, you'd quicker see a naked woman's body as a subject in the art versus actual female, women artists. And
Right.
a lot of times we're not taken as serious, as our male counterparts. even if we have the same amount of work or more. There was a film I mentioned a couple of episodes ago. Who does she really think she is? I don't know if you saw this documentary, but it was all women artists and all of the challenges that they went through, including one woman, her gallerist told her to um, assume a pseudonym that seemed more male so people buy the artwork, and women who had challenges in their family life and relationships because they wanted to, like, yes, I love my family, I want to raise these kids, but I also have a passion and a calling for the art. And a lot of times mothers are made to feel like we have to give that up, or maybe we're not fit, and if you have,
Right. It like takes so much time out of your hands, but at the same time, if you want to feel like you as a person, you have to do what it is that makes you happy. You can do it.
Mhm.
You just gotta figure out how to plan that stuff out. Or maybe you make with your child. Your child can be making some art. You can be making some art too. So it's trying to figure out how to incorporate that space. Like, I don't want to stop my artistic path because I have children. And I don't feel like that's an excuse either. But at the same time, it's like, I know that it's a lot. So if it's too much for you to create art and to raise your kids, it's fine. It's only for a short episode of your life.
Mhm.
It's going to go extremely quickly and you'll be back at it. But for me to be sane, I have to make. I have to make something, even if I'm like cutting pieces of magazines and trying to build my little cities. Like, I have some of those images within my website.
Mhm.
2 little minutes to put some tape on a space or something and just look at something that's not Baby Shark. I mean, it's amazing.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And we have another artist and mom, Trina Slade Bergs of No More Starving Artists Foundation, saying hello.
Hey,
Yeah. So, Trina, yeah, do you have any comments? We were just talking about being an artist and a mom. I know back in the day, I used to do a lot of live art, and sometimes people would come and see Marley right on my hip. I'll take a break, breastfeed, get back, get back to work.
that's how it is. That's how it is.
Mhm, mhm. And how important is that to you? Well, I guess that's not the question, but what are some of the challenges and how do you work around? Like, you have two under two and you're doing your art and being a professor. Like, do you have to figure out scheduling and, how do you do that?
Well, God's funny. So my husband lost his job in April and my son was born in April, and because of COVID.
Mm.
So he's been home, right? So my son is going to be 7 months and he just got a job, thankfully. So I've had help with him being in the house, but I'm also blessed. So his parents they live in Miami, and my parents are also here and they live in Miami.
Mm.
So I'm lucky enough that my parents take my art seriously and my career seriously. So if I need, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours to just like distress and get into my studio, I'm lucky enough to be like, here's Mecca, which is my oldest. She's like in her terrible twos, so she's a hot mess.
Mm.
But the baby's not an issue because, they eat and they sleep. And when he sleeps, I'll make stuff or I'll be creating my syllabuses, or my syllabi is how you say it, which is what I'm doing now for next semester. And then when they sleep, I'm either working with work stuff or I'm trying to figure out what my next project is going to be, or emailing people about different shows.
Mhm, mhm.
So it's like it's a balance. Now when my husband goes back to work on Monday, I don't know what that's gonna look like, but I'll survive.
Yeah. Trina's saying it's always been a struggle. Absolutely. Yeah. When Marley was little, sometimes I got a little easel for him when he got to like 2, 3, you know. But then I don't know if this has happened to you yet. I was on a deadline, and of course, last minute on a deadline with this painting, and a neighbor stopped by, and I went to greet her at the door for like 5 minutes. It couldn't have been that more than 5 minutes. And as I'm coming back, Marley was so proud
Oh no.
to show me how he improved on my painting. That was a portrait, and there was a big slash of paint, and I was just like,
I haven't experienced that yet. Thank the Lord. Now I know though. I'll lock my studio
oh my
door.
gosh.
He was
And
good.
luckily, it was like an older artist. So she was just like, okay, calm down, get some water. Because I was just like, oh no, did he really? Like, this is due tomorrow. I get it that I'm late, but
Oh my God, that's
he
terrible.
was so
I'll have a heart attack.
like, oh, Trina said it helps to have a supportive partner.
Yeah, he is very, very, very supportive. I am very lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with all those that going on, do you have any self care practices or anything that you do that's kind of like your ritual or taking time for yourself and things like that? Or
I think when I get fed up, like fed up as in being a mom, I feel like a lot of times we don't talk about all the negative things
hmm
come with being a mom. It's always like, oh, it's perfect, it's beautiful, it's great. It's a lot of fucking work.
yeah,
And people don't talk about like you going crazy.
hmm
So when I'm about to hit that point is when I get in my car and I drive to Target. And that like eases me out. No kids, nobody. I turn my phone off. I don't answer any emails.
mm-hmm.
I just look on. I'm not a shopper either. It's just like the feeling of being by myself in my own space, um, not thinking about, do I have to change his diaper? What time does he need to eat? Or what is she doing inside the room? Why is there um, baby powder all over the place? You know what I'm saying? Like,
hmm
I don't have to be that mom, wife, artist. I just need to breathe.
hmm hmm
So that's what I do. If there's any other suggestions, I'll do that too.
well, this is not helpful, but because Marley, I don't know if it was colic or something that he had it, but he just went through this period where he was just crying all the time. So I was just like, I'm joining you. We just cry together.
It's crazy sometimes. I'm like, what are you screaming about? Like,
Yeah.
keep it down. I'm trying to take a nap.
You're fed, you got a clean diaper, you have no
What's
care, no
up?
car note. That's mostly, like you're living the good life and you crying. So I'm just gonna cry with you.
Right.
I have ideas.
Seriously, it's a lot sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. And I like to go to the beach. I go early in the morning, or when Marley was, went to school, I drop him off. I go there, even for half an hour. I just get really calm, by getting to the beach and waiting until my mind is just clear and just.
And that's a new thing too. Is Mecca's gonna go to daycare in January?
Mm,
Woo, I'm excited.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. How can people? I did put in the chat links to your Instagram and your Facebook and website. Outside of social media, how can people support your work, support you, figure out what you're doing? How can people do that?
I think just showing up to, well, I know it's COVID times, but showing up to any openings or even like this being virtual,
hmm
I think that's the most support that I really need just for people to get out there and look at art, not just mine, but other people's too. I think it's a way of opening your mind a little bit or looking at something in a different way is important. Should be refreshing, hopefully.
hmm Absolutely. Do you have any exhibitions coming up, either in person or virtually?
Yeah, so besides having the show with you, I have a show. It's a site specific piece, and it was curated by William. What's William's last name? Oh my God, I'm blanking out.
Uh,
Um,
Cardova.
Yeah, Cordova, sorry.
Mhm.
And it's AIM Biennial. It's AIM Biennial. I think
Yeah.
that it's going to be maybe a virtual exhibition. I also have an exhibition in Coral Gables Museum that's opening December 1st. It'll be up till March 14th, and that one's called Alien Nations. There's also another exhibition also opening December 1st. It's called Afro Soul, an exhibition of contemporary African diaspora art.
Hmm.
And I'll have another one in March at the Far Gallery as well. So all of that's on my website, though, if you're interested in location and times and dates.
Okay. And I have on a ticker again the website, and then we have Deborah Kerr saying hello.
Hey, Deb
Yeah. And Ty
and Ty.
Cardova. She's yeah, yeah. So William Cardova, yes, absolutely. Tiny
She booked
booked it.
it.
Book.
I'm trying. I'm trying to do it all, man.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have this one life to focus on right now, and it's always great to take time for yourself and your family, but like you have opportunities to show your art and further your art, career. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do what makes you happy too. It's
Yeah.
not always about everybody else either. Like
Hmm.
you need to be sane for them.
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, Deborah's saying back in town. Nice to see you both. Absolutely, yes. Good to see you too. I love Deborah. She's like, she'll come like, I'm in North Carolina. I'm here. I'm there. But mostly every Tuesday, she's been here like clockwork, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Um, and Deborah Kerr is also an artist as well. So I've seen some of her work. Um, Taina said, love to see it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, if you had access to a time machine, where would you go? Past or future?
What kind of question?
I know I didn't add it to what we'll be talking about. That's my
Where would I go? That's the future. Like maybe to see what my kids end up doing with their lives. I think that'll be interesting. You see, mom always thinking about
yeah, yeah,
kids. I mean, yeah. What would this country look like? Hopefully not what it looks like right now because it's freaking crazy out there.
absolutely,
Some
absolutely.
progress at some point.
That was the most animated response. What type of
So
question is that? But
that's
like,
a good question.
yeah, thank you. Because like a lot of times when we do get an opportunity to talk, people want to hear about what we're doing. When's the next show? When's the So I just want to shake it up a bit.
Caught me off guard.
That too, that too. So, um, so yeah, so it was just really wonderful, taking the time to get to know a little bit more about you and your work. I think we met a couple years ago. We were on this panel at
Mhm.
Spady. Um, yeah, so it's just really nice to get to know other sides and other layers of the work that you're doing and what you're up to.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I saw the name Lopez. I was like, oh, I got family in the show. It's great.
Right? Well, we're both Afro Latina, but I don't. I think I have lots of things, but I don't have any Dominican. I have Cuba and Panama, Colombia.
We're there, we're there somewhere. We're
Yeah,
intermingled.
yeah, actually, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I definitely thank you for being here, and thanks to everyone who's watching live, who's going to watch on the replay. Please consider sharing this video. There's someone that may want to be inspired by this video, and who knows what they'll be up to. I mean, they could be an art mom, they could be a professor, they could be an artist, they could be an explorer, or all of the above.
You hear my husband in the background?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm saying that's, that's one way to support the arts, support the artist, support the show, and also you never know who that this video touches home for and says, wait a minute, I'm going to start something today. So it's always is great information. It's great to share. Trina says Spady in the house. Yes, so Trina's also part.
Hey,
Yes, yes, indeed. So, yeah, do you have any final final words? Final words
make
of wisdom?
people make some artwork.
Yeah, that's a good one. Absolutely, absolutely. So, if you enjoyed this show is brought to you by Niki Lopez Creative and What's Your Elephant. What's Your Elephant is a movement that uses the arts to create safe space and talk about anything unspoken. And like I said, we have an exhibition up. It's at the 1310 Gallery in downtown Fort Lauderdale. Both Kandy and I have work in the exhibition. The exhibition has been extended, so you can see it up until the end of November in 2020, which I have to specify since we're now on a podcast. So definitely, if you want to find out more, go to what'syourelephant.org and you could find out more about the movement, the next art show, the next workshop. We're planning to have a virtual workshop. So that's in the works. We don't have the date yet, but definitely be on the lookout for that. So again, Kandy, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to share with us tonight. Thank you. I
For
really,
having me. This was fun.
yes, absolutely. All right, so everyone, I will see you all next Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Ciao.
Bye.